yen. And it's all over the map, you know. There's so much trading available here. And if you're into 618, that's okay because you could be into 72% and be winning and killing it too. So there's no magic in these numbers, just proof being that this indicator that I wrote called Spectrum just took a support and resistance and just went nuts with it and wrote so many versions of it where it's like I think I ran out of objects you can paint or something. But I wanted to make it visually, kind of intense as far as yellow is like, okay, that's the hottest color. Maybe I should have gone with a different color, but so I was trying to pick colors that if I went to a grayscale that it would make sense, but I don't know how. I wish I could make the whole thing go gray. That way there's no vibration from the colors off the screen. So that's kind of a problem because I got chromatic shift problems with wearing glasses. And that's a big annoyance, but it's just a necessary evil of life. But I can see really good close up within about 5 inches. I can see amazing. So I can do highly detailed work at 5 inches, but can't really, not digging the, and the fact that Windows won't even let you run Skype now unless you have a monitor that's a big res. So it's a real battle to try to have any type of stability in your life digitally because, unless you still have the 286 running, which is always a good idea. That's what Holdsworth had running before he died. He was running Atari for his sequencer. I thought, yeah, you can't get any cleaner. You can't hardly fuck it up. There's only so many choices inside the software. So this problem, that's why people think that MT4 is not powerful, but because it doesn't not dazzling. But that's the whole point. You don't want to have 40-foot switches. Pick a tone, fucking play a goddamn lick. Enough already. So we got the retracement on the dollar yen, and there was actually one last counter trend trade available in this thing of a pullback of I don't know what, 10 pips. So the window of your risk being 2 pips plus 2 pips for your cost of doing business, and we'll give it 8 pips for risk. So we have coming at a total of 10 pips per ticket risk. There are times when you can trade with a 3-pip stop. There is no doubt that you can trade with a 3-pip stop. There are times when you need a 12.5-pip stop. So having all of these bullets available at your on your deck, if you're a gamer, this should be a piece of cake. And I get the feeling that some of these people that are young enough that they're gamers. So I'm talking to the local priest this morning in the Starbucks, and he claims that I go, "What's that? Is that your schedule for the your parishioners or your your flock?" Oh no, this is fantasy football. I thought, oh my God, here's this guy masturbating with the football players. Great, thanks. So just when you thought you could count on Jesus, but actually he swapped. He admitted that he's in a white. He's a black guy and he's in a white congregation. So he felt comfortable enough to admit that to me this morning. I didn't know what to do. It's like a football. Somebody handed me 5 footballs. I thought, God, I had so much fun with this guy. Like, hey, so you're like, hey, like, are you being extra black because they're white? You have to tone it down a little bit. So yeah, here we are. They just clipped the trees here. Made it to the final. If you want to look at this as a gridiron aerial view of trading, then you're looking at the how they carry the football back and forth. And of course, these things happen over and over again. There's no magic in it. And you can go and say that, oh, ICT is going to show me how to do this. There was this guy, Coolio, that was on the stream, and he would say, well, ICT can show you how to do it. And I'm like, that's like saying, okay, ICT is like going to teach you how to play guitar. He's like, well, I can't show you all the chords because, the big boys know those and they've all done the platinum albums. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world, right? So it's all right there in front of you. It's just the confidence to have the balance point between the confidence and get to a carefree state of mind where you don't even think twice about it. It's like going to Starbucks and getting a coffee. I mean, but see, the problem there is then trading becomes boring and you're like, okay, I got it. Now what? I mean, the challenge is, and it's so funny because the people are like, oh, you're 95% of people are losing. Dude, 95% of people are losing at their life. I mean, people that would comment on my channel and not have any content, I think, yeah, and your point is, like, where is your fucking rebuttal? Oh, you're just going to put a comment, a couple comment lines in there? You could do better than that. Come on. So, and this linear fantasy, this is a real indicator. And I'm not making this up. Look how it's calling out that bottom there at -5. Now, the settings on this are probably set to every 4 hours or maybe every day. But you can set this indicator so it takes into account the last 15 minutes and make the percentages bigger and probably look the fucking same, but it would switch every 15 minutes and give you a different correlation to volatility, and it's actually a volatility indicator because it's taking the last samplings of 15 minutes or more and saying, okay, where is the pivot? We're at 0. Where is support and resistance in an objective way? So if you were to place limits on these handles, you could see that at least it gives you the permission to put a fucking order in. My God, for sakes. Watching that guy trade, every time I watch that guy, I came across that guy trading like 4 years ago, and I'm like, wow, I had to move. I literally got anxiety and had to bail. I thought, well, he seems to be like doing the righteous thing. And there's really nobody like, I suppose, in the world of amateur, people that don't want to take on the responsibility of, which it is quite a daunting task. If you had to, I guess, work for, I don't envy the Akil Stokes having to go work for this guy, and like, why wouldn't you just go off and trade his own account? Because you make way more money, or stable money. Okay, it's about stable money. It's about, okay, I'm not risking anything here. I get that, right? But there are people out there that, that realize that, no, there's times when you're just like, you'd have to say, no, you're what you're seeing is true, and it's okay to take this trade. Because if you've ever been, once bitten, twice shy, you're going to say, well, I just can't handle this constant monitoring the equity, or because if all the people that are worried about making money and the secret of making money have so much invested in that, in the word money and the whole thing, that it doesn't really... It's not like if you were to really be good at playing guitar and then people would say, oh, yeah, you want to play this gig and that gig? And you, well, I only got 24 hours in a day. Which gig am I going to pick? So you'd have to consider you're really like a guitarist. In the trading world, like, do you want to go play the Eurodollar? You want to scalp it? Well, you can't play, lead guitar on the Eurodollar and play the fucking guppy in a swing band, So maybe you can't do both. And maybe you're like, well, I mean, to me, I couldn't do both instruments in one account because I couldn't tell where my equity was, where my wins and losses were coming from. So when I look at the platform and I look at the equity, I just, oh, okay, that should be happening right now. Yeah, they're probably going to go lower or something, and I'm just, I'm just gonna leg into this, or if I'm going to swing into that long, wide stops, or am I going to scalp it and just go, oh, dude, I just made like, right on the scalp, you just go, boom, wow, that was fantastic, and you realize it's a flash crash, and you just got to get the fuck out. I'm sure the people that are short, and it goes smashing down, and they're like, yeah, okay, well, you can add to your winnings Okay, so obviously when the market starts to move and you're like, oh yeah, they're going after the fucking monthlies. No, there was not that they're going after, and I guess it's a bad way of thinking about trading that there's these people and they're going after that price. It's just kind of like, that's your story on top of it. I think it's more like the price. You're seeing it on a chart, so you're seeing the story. Like you're looking at the EKG of something, or the EEG. You're looking at the price pulse and the heartbeat of the market. Whereas that if the patient dies or the patient has a rapid heartbeat, and you're not there to see it, right? You could just see the after effects of it, and so it's not. They're going there, right? They're going to die. So how quickly are they going to get there? Are they going to have a heart attack? Is the market going to have a stroke, or is it going to just like slowly get worse and worse? And that's the drift. So the market has where serious impact in price. In fact, a complete washout and clearing of every new high and every new low because the pressure is just naturally built up. It's just nothing but a true free market. If any instrument like this could gap open above the high of 2 days ago on this chart, it wouldn't be surprising. Okay, so if all of a sudden, like just imagine somebody assassinated the president, where do you think these markets might open on Sunday? And of course, Bitcoin would be the overflow for this right now because it's the only market that's so big. Price establishment wise, we've already been to an ungodly number, 18,000 or so, I don't know, Bitcoin, and then we're back to $6,000. Pretty crazy coming into the supposedly a better economy, but now you've got people pulling levers like tariff levers and stuff like that, and that fundamentally would change it, but in the end, it's going to be how would you participate in the next insane fucking move in these markets? And is there an insane move setting up? And I would say, in the crudest sense, if you had some scanning software, which I'm sure they make them, or you could just put up a grid and go, hey, man, give me or just tell somebody else to do it. Now, this is the real key, is tell somebody else to do it, because then they'll come back and go, hey, this thing meets the qualifications, and you'd say, I hate that currency pair. So this is why you cannot live inside of your own. Like, there's only so many guitar licks you can play. You got to go steal some licks. Like, you got to listen to some other material. You can sit there and play, and you get in a rut, and you're like, yeah, I'm really good at that scale, and I always just, in other words, you would never go to the gym, the karate gym, and just punch with your dominant hand because you already know that. So you try to use your bad hand, and this is how you grow. You get some type of ability to be. I can do this. I can do that. And it doesn't. Now you're actually starting back over the beginning when trading was fun. So you're always having to reinvent yourself. I suppose every day in trading, as far as your. So if you run a demo right next to your real account. And then when you go to pull the trigger on each one, you just have a slightly different feeling. Hopefully you get to the point where you just wouldn't have a different feeling about it. If it's a logical trade with fake money to demonstrate, and it is called the demo account because it's a demonstration of how you would do your guitar patch. And then you go, okay, now we're gonna do it, and we're gonna turn on the tape machines. So you would rehearse, and then you would go live. You wouldn't always go live. Now, if you're taping, you can stop, and you're okay. There's an album by Todd Rundgren called Second Wind, and he did it live, and I could tell it was live. When I first heard it, I go, oh my God, this is fucking live. But it doesn't say live on the album. This is live in the studio. And you could tell it was live. It hit you in the face how live it was and how everybody had to perform. It was like there's no overdubs in this thing. So it's about 20 people, background singers, the whole thing. And amazing. Still a most amazing sounding album. I mean, a little bright sounding, a little brash, a little mid rangey. Nobody really, I guess they mastered it, but they were stuck with the settings going down. And I don't know who mixed it, but, these people. Anyways, going back to the market here, having your, I'm just going to say just call them scripts, these, which are just really trade plans, having like 8 trade plans or 8 tactics, never the loss of making, I mean, splitting your ticket down, how, I just don't get it. Why would you trade a standard lot when you could trade 4 25s? You're going to make so much more money. It's retarded. Plus, you're dispersing. You've scaled your risk in like fucking f-stops. You got from 4 to 16. At least you've got like on a digital camera. It's too bright out. You don't want to change your film. No, just squint the lens, take the iris down. There's got to be some type of throttle thing. You can't just fucking... How are these people... Nobody's building a 1-gear truck. Yeah, just get in there, dude. The motor's so fucking strong, it doesn't give a fuck if there's no clutch. You start it in gear. Are you fucking kidding me? I almost get the feeling that's what people are... Watch these people do these trades. You just start in the truck in gear? Well, yeah. I mean, come on, man. And... or you got high-end brakes on it, so you're like, yeah, I'm just a pig. I ride the brake. Well, the racing brakes, fuck them. But look at this insane fucking, the market gets really coiled up and tight, and it's like breakout trading is got to be like the most winningest mechanical system on the planet. And nobody talks about it because, well, I guess you could go watch a video about it, but what it'll typically be is like 2 tickets. If 2 tickets to paradise, if you're lucky, Eddie money. So if you're lucky, and people saying, well, patterns don't work and trend lines don't work. Well, you know what? It wouldn't. They're not. It's not that they don't. You have to. All the trend line's doing is showing you a trend. Or let's say it's not a trend. It's an adherence to a line. It's like the river. Okay, the river bends, it breaks, and then it goes into straight, and then it gets all whacked out, and then it goes crooked. And then a storm comes in. And there's storms coming into these markets, I gotta believe, on some level. And so that would be the argument for fundamentals driving what's going on here. But in the only thing that explains it for me is auction. So if you... the auction theory thing is the only explains how the price is able to go to the edges and back to center. And of course here it's happening on a micro level and a macro level. So the micro level would be on the 1 hour chart if you went in about 20 hours into any chart. So you would just go 20 hours deep, and it's hard to just sample 20 hours out of this chart because you're only talking about 20 bars, and you've got 5 days of data here, and you can make all sorts of suppositions with moving averages. You can take a 34 moving average. It's funny watching people go, okay, I'm going to put the 34 moving average, that's Fibonacci. Oh yeah, okay, and 21, and I did it. I had a whole, my best MACD system was a 13 linear weighted with a 55. When that thing crossed over, it was like cloud trading. But the only problem there is that you have to run that on a fucking 1 minute chart. It's you would die before you got a setup. You'd be dead. If you're not taking your cloud, your insane 54 moving average cloud down to a 1 minute chart and just going, okay, let's trade this fucker. You're missing it. you can see the setups on there like, holy shit. You're like, yeah, okay, I believe in MACD then, right? Because you've taken it down to basically a half-hour chart. Well, I mean, a 1-minute chart with MACD has got to be, in essence, a half-hour chart with a 2-period moving average. Right? Take a you'd be amazed how many trades, and of course I did a video like that. You take the MACD you take the moving average crossover robot inside of MT4 out of the box, demo, came with a goddamn program, set it to 1 crosses this 2 per moving average and fucking go that and buy, and then sell, reverse. That robot set to a half pip spread will make so much money you'll be like, where do I invest? But it's trading through the news like that. With a half pip spread. Are you kidding me? So the whole backtest thing is hysterical. I mean, if the thing was to actually be fucking, if the robot was constantly in on mode, unless it's a fixed pip platinum account where you got $1 million in the account, okay, and then you're going to ask yourself, well, I got $1 million. Why am I even trading? What is your number? In fact, when would you stop trading? So people say I'm going to build my account, or I'm going to pay my rent with my account, or whatever it is. But it's just so bizarre because if you well, I'm not surprised. I mean, Hollywood makes it like if you got a bunch of money, you're happy, right? So how many people that have been billionaires have killed themselves? But this thing about, if I did this and that. But once you do this and that, and then you say, you know what, that's just not the answer. So you'd have to enjoy trading on some level. You'd have to enjoy the process. If you were just saying, oh, you know what, they're the big boys, it's me against them, and only the best, you're up against the best traders in the world. I mean, one of the most fucking retarded, demoralizing bullshit lines I've ever heard in my life. You're up against the best traders in the world. Really? You mean the people that they can't manage their own, I mean, how about the bankers? What happened to the bankers jumping off the roofs? Man, that was like amazing. 2 years ago, all these bankers are jumping off roofs and stuff. I don't even know. I don't hear about that anymore. Never heard the follow-up on that. So, now that I'm on the YouTube and seeing all these different people doing these different topics, my head explode. But yeah, the trading thing is definitely utterly fascinating. But I would say if you go hour by hour, blow by blow on here, and the line chart is a completely different mindset than the candlestick chart, because the line chart is taken off. There's no backbeat. There's no open. The line chart has no open. The candles do. So as soon as you put an open in there, you're changing. You can't imagine how that's changing everything. If you are going to consider what just the behavior of the market is price-wise, the way it behaves, and if time's money and time, you come back to that price again. There's more. Interest at a price. And this is what people are saying, this level 2 is going to show me where the interest is, where the willing buyers and sellers are. But we all know where they're at. Or I could use this dumbass indicator to tell it to me. And I could just sit here and put sell limits on the plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5. I could stack it up on there like an idiot and be like, yeah, this came up, bounced off that, came back, I made money. But that wouldn't be enough. You couldn't live off 5 tickets. You'd have to have 100 tickets in there. In my mind, you should be doing as much to save yourself risk as possible. Dollar risk, not pip risk. Because, 100 pip stop is, on a 1K, is not that dangerous. I just don't get this whole, you got to watch out. Yeah, the high risk is very high risk. Okay, but you're the one. You fucking sold. What is this stuff with the risk? Oh man, yeah. So last night the power. I think I got fresh power here. The power went out, and then they turned it back on this morning. I saw the guy reading the schematic on the side of the road this morning. Come back from Starbucks, and I thought this poor thing. He has to probably. He's like, man, who wrote this thing and what were they thinking? He's probably pissed off about the. So, anyways, here's the dollar yen on the 1 hour chart, and it's just I could still have held onto this trade. I think I'm actually in shorts here. I'm underwater, but I'm actually in a hedge because I went long and I went short all day long here, and so I could be at let's say I'm actually up overall though. But I'm underwater on these sells. So I could say, well, okay, I found myself in this sell here and I'm underwater, I think, from the fill point. And like I said, it's a demo count. I wouldn't even do that sell. I don't typically sell, so I wouldn't do that. But I just threw them up there when I was doing the video. But yeah, and this is ready to cash out, this one. But that was a set it and forget it situation. And I just going through I was going to run the strategy tester with this indicator and try to call out the trades. So that's a nice thing that you do on the weekends is rehearse for like the London Open trading and stuff like that. Put up a 15-minute chart and try to get yourself used to pulling the trigger or placing orders when it comes into your zone. You can mark it off and just go, okay. I just don't understand why these people with the kill zones over in power trading don't have people lay fucking 1Ks in there and fucking make them goddamn trade. You're going to put a standard lot in there, man, off this Gartley tip. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking... Who does this stuff? How long would it take your brain to figure out that maybe if I put 2 tickets in, or even 4, and I only get filled on 3, that somehow I fucked up because it should have filled all 4? I can see. Okay, I get it. That's where your brain's going to go. So I'm not surprised. And of course here I bought all the same price like a fucking idiot. All these guys are filled down here, but these have the big monster stops on them. See, this stop is so fucking out there. So let me turn on the tickets. That stop is so out there. Okay, so I'm going to make the stops in white, and I'm going to make the take profits. I guess I'm not going to worry about the take profits. So this is another thing. If I just turn on the stop only, of course, the problem is that the stop... I'm sorry, yeah, the stop, I can't turn off the take profits. So all we have here is take profits and stops. I wish MetaTrader did have a different color for take profit. And that's the... let's see, I think my take profits... Yeah, my sells are down. I can't even see them. Should be on there, though. Yeah, I put in real tickets. I don't know. I actually don't see them. Anyways, I know I've got take profits on that. I can't imagine. Oh, God, that's a bad number. I must have wrote a bad script. I put a take profit at like a zillion pips there. Okay, well, that could happen. Yeah, I got to make sure. I fucked up that script. Look at this take profit. It's like way down in... here you go. How you like this trade, guys? So, yeah, that's fuck up. See, I wrote a bad script. That's another reason why you run the demo. So, can you imagine? Yep, stayed in. Look at this is the fucking starting gate. Oh, that's hysterical. Yeah, so this is the monthly... I don't know if everybody likes to look at the old charts here. the monthlies. But like I did a video on this kind of like Holy Grail setup down here of the end of the dollar losing against the yen. And then when we took this wick out and no sellers came in there, it was like, holy Jesus. And then this was the top bottom and then retest here. Now everything's getting all quiet. Everything's getting very, very quiet. So something's got to give there a little bit. Or this is coiling up. And we have a big triangle here. We're starting to drift out and creep away, I think. I think it's going to crush. We're going to crush these Japanese people. No offense. Going to crush them. Zoom out. I don't have enough data on this broker. So yeah, that is contentious. That's about the tightest triangle, largest triangle we've seen. And this is like a big storm. You know, this is like waiting for, this isn't scalping. This is waiting for the, you know, the eye of the hurricane. That's where we're at here, I'd say. Something's going to be vicious. The question is, how do we resolve this lack of volatility? It's not really a triangle so much as a lack of volatility, the apex of lack of volatility. And very fascinating. I really do think that if you were to make the, well, when the market breaks into uncharted water, whether it's above or below, and it starts to run, it seems as if there's nobody taking the other side of that trade at some point. There's literally, it's just a one-way street. And I guess that would be a trend, but as you can see, there's very few times where you get a clean run without some hiccup. And for the most of the time, it's just caught in a war of attrition, a battle back and forth. And if you look here, this fascinating final stop hunt too, so to speak. New lows, historical lows, and I mean in terms of just going back like way in the Wayback Machine of 1993. You could just make a living just trading this. In fact, you could have been long. You could tell somebody, dude, I'm still long from down here. I mean, with, you know, like now that's something I would want to see on proof of that. And all that is proof of is that you just had the patience to, or you had the determination and patience to not let go of that trade. But then, of course, people would probably say, well, what a dumb shit. You didn't get out here after you got in here. But yeah, you could still get out now. Or you could say, yeah, dude, I'm actually adding to my position. Now, here's where it takes ultimate confidence is like, so there's another thing they say over there at Empowered Trading. Be humble. Fuck be humble. God, stop that shit. You don't know. You have to know. You wouldn't fucking get in that trade unless you thought it was going to be a winning trade at Mark Douglas. Of course you're going with that fucking thought. And it just blows my mind that anybody would be so, be humble. You just don't know, you know. That's why we're trading with the Garleys. That's going to guide the way. A cipher pattern. I mean, this is just insane, man. Why don't you guys just take like game? I saw the guy at the preachers running fantasy football, and I thought, yeah, how about fantasy sex? No, I just, what was it? Fantasy trading. I'll be George Soros. Who are you gonna be? I'll be fucking Paul Tudor Jones. Okay, let's go. Funny. Yeah, let's see how. I'll be Merrill Lynch. Let's see how they're doing. Okay, well, I guess you could be them, right? It's called buying stock in the stock market. That's participation. The guy told me, well, it's for people that are sports junkies and they want to participate. I go, well, yeah, I guess if you can't run a company, you can't buy a franchise, you just buy a little bit of stock and you just go. In fact, I should do a thing on stock trading, which I used to do, and bring it into MT4A, the major stocks here. on some of these platforms and just go, hey, look at this stock here. Yeah, yeah. You don't like leverage? Here, you want real fucking dumbass lock up all your money in this? Just like gold, the gold traders. How many people stack gold and silver? And when this thing falls down, when gold goes back to 500, what are people going to say? Holy shit. I can imagine the screaming of all these stackers on the internet. Yeah, silver went back to 10. I guess it's not that important. Sex is better. Yeah, sex prices are going up. Porn's like fucking coming back. I mean, they still got the naughty shop next to the Starbucks, and I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? Like, I mean, they must have updated it so they have like special smells and stuff they're selling instead of just like raw toys in there. But you always wonder, like, what is the? Oh, I'm coming back from. When I was driving back this summer from this other place, I saw this billboard that said, "Stop off here. We've got the best sex toys, bar none." And I thought, God, should I stop in? I mean, they spent money on this billboard, and like, God, I am out here where I can smell all this horse manure. I thought, I don't know, maybe it's an adventure. But no, I just kept going. In fact, I couldn't remember the exit number. You know how they do the exit number? And I'm like, God, should I write this down and crash the car? Can I take a snapshot with my my Google Watch? It's fucking ridiculous out there, man. How do you like this? How do you like this yen, though? How do you like the way this thing moves around? Yeah. So you go way back. Look at the monthly chart at this level. Dollar Swiss. Oh, that stuff is so boring. You could tell. Look at the dollar got a little hit there, huh? Another classic. Had you had the patience, now this would have been like beyond the scope of most people. Would be to say, well, I put a sell in up here at new highs, and they finally filled me. And goddamn it, if I'm not up on that trade now. No shit, even the breakout traders made money on that. Here's the goobers making money. You know, watch your local goober make money. I guess what really pisses people off is they have so much sophistication, level 2, and they got widgets and jigsaws, and they're like, damned if I didn't get filled on these sells and never got filled on these longs, and woohoo, I'm making money like an idiot. And breakout trading works. I mean, it took fucking practically a year to break out of here. I was like, yeah, no shit. Well, this is the beginning of the year. It's a big postage stamp here at the 100 handle. Now, if this was a 15-minute chart, you're having fun on that. This is a 10 pip handle, and this is a 15-minute chart. You see the market's just, it's all the same fucking thing. It's all the same fractal. It's just that the monthly is such a slow, it's a compressed view of the story down to the greatest hits. There's no noise on this chart. Now, if you thought this was a 15-minute chart, if this is a 5-minute chart or 1-minute chart, you'd say this is all noisy up here. And look how they just took it right to here. This is a fantastic trade. And this is another, as they pull off the tops. And what do you think they're going to do when they come down here? Anybody buying down here for a dead cat bounce? So, yeah, I would be long here. If I was a swing trader, I'd be buy, and put a stop down here. Like, if you can imagine, I don't know why people can't imagine this. You have an account that you trade once a month. You have orders in there, and you may not get filled for like 3 months. It's inconceivable to an impatient person. And if you were to stare at this thing, waiting for this entry, going, oh, finally, oh, I can't fucking believe it. Really? I don't think it's a good idea to stare at this weekly chart looking for your fill here. So what would you do? I'd say, okay, let's fucking dial it back to the daily. Now, when you go to the daily from the weekly, your head spins. It's 5x difference. You're like, holy shit, fuck. Look at all this noisy shit. Now look at all these amazing dumbass fucking trades in here, though. From the standpoint of range, but you still have to wait like 10 days to get paid big. And then you can see the scalps on here. Where are you? Okay, that's a scalp. If I run a 50 pip stop, which looks like this, since that's the 100 pip handles, I'm pretty sure on these big black lines. Okay, so we have indicator list. Okay, it's 100. 0 is 100. And I should take off that cloud. That's pretty disturbing. Yeah, I forgot to kind of clean this up. I guess I don't see it anymore. It's like the train you don't hear anymore. So this linear 30, this is every 30 minutes it's supposed to change. That's the spectrum thing. And this will just get rid of these clouds. And then, all right, so that clean, oh, I still got some cloud shit on here. Something's going on there. This. Okay, there you go. Okay, this is the raw. This is the true facts of life with Trudy. So, you know, on the daily basis, from the Goober breakout guy that doesn't have the, he can run a 50 pip stop. So imagine the guy that can run a 50 pip stop as opposed to the guy that can only run a 10 pip stop because he's chosen a size that's locked him into this approach. So basically you're saying, I can drive a car, my car is, the sweet spot is 80 miles an hour, and the other guy's sweet spot of his car is 20 miles an hour. Now, it's quite a big difference. It's not like people would think in the real world, because the dynamic range of the market, since they have made these brokers, or these brokers who decided to go to a fifth decimal point, pretty insane. There's people trading really huge with a 3.8 pip stop. And they're trying to make 9 pips. So they have really good ratios, and they're very close to the market. They're very tight, and they're making they're killing it. And you'll notice when you go to a spread that's wider, you'll just feel it. You're like, okay, yeah, well, kind of already getting killed on this trade. Yeah, certainly if you pull the trigger at the market and you don't think the market can pull back a half a pip, then you're out of your mind. So why wouldn't you just buy a 1K here and a 1K half a pip deeper and get into a 2K instead of a 20K at the market? And you just got to wonder. I think it's the fact that placing one ticket is considered a trade and placing 2 tickets is considered utterly overwhelming. Or not utterly overwhelming, but stepping into complexity that you don't want to go into, because why would you, as Mark Douglas would say, why would you, if you thought it was going up or down, why you wouldn't get into a trade unless you thought it was going to be a winner. And that is the whole crux of it, because why would you put a second ticket on? Well, you were wrong about the first one? You think it's going to go lower? You're saying, so what you have to have is a little, you have to dare the market to fill you and say, okay, come on, get me. And, oh, look at how this thing's almost picked the last bottom pip there. And look at, that's got the bottom pip there. Beautiful. Look at almost right in the window here, the hot spot. And do you think there's any sellers up here? Now, it's all going to be about where's your stop and take profit if you sell in this window here coming into next week on the dollar Swiss for a bounce, a rip out of that vacuum. And that vacuum goes all the way back to here. So the Jigsaw software is trying to do what you could probably just do manually here. You can see the vacuum back to here, and then there's another one that goes deeper every hour. So these are all going to be the zipper that's going to get taken out, right? All the way to each rooftop and every hour, all the way back up. Now, so Jigsaw is just filling in everything there, right? That Jigsaw trader guy. And how does it get there? And actually, it's going to have a real struggle as it fills up and everybody gets satisfied on this dollar Swiss going up. Do you think it can go down anymore? Well, the guys that sold this rooftop, and I don't know if you can see these things, but after a while, it would just jump out at you. The undercut, I would call it, from a market profile standpoint. If you look down the market, it's the clefts in the undercut, or where you have the I can't activate this fucking triangle. Right here, they pulled it off of this rooftop here in this 1 hour, just for a skosh, and you have to fix the scale to hunt this down. So you come in here like this, and you can see if you place a sell limit here, you got filled and you made money. Now, it is hard to believe that it's that stupid, but you would still have to get out of the trade already, I think, because if you didn't take money now, we're pulling back into where we broke out of. So if the market's sloshing around, and you could make it as simple as that, there's no conspiracy. Look at this beautiful breakout trade here. Wow, amazing. Sell stop, buy stop, killed it all the way to here. And if it did a stop and reverse, it cashed out here. If it did a trailing stop per hour, you can see that trade. You should be able to see these trades. You should be able to think like a breakout trader and a swing trader, because as dumb as it is putting buy stops here and having a stop here on that right now, as dumb as that is, it works. But I wouldn't commit my whole trade plan to that. I would still have a buy limit here, here, and here, and here. And these would have scalps built in. I could put a cluster down here, a scalp bank, and it's magical. You'll come back to your platform. You don't even have to watch this shit happen. And you'll be like, oh, okay, that did pretty good there. You're up on my account, but you see the losses you took. Now, if you're here watching yourself lose, and that's another reason why people kind of want to see somebody trade live with real money, is they want to see somebody, I guess the NASCAR effect, right? You want to see somebody hit the wall. And what are they going to do about it? And oh boy. Well, I mean, it depends. If you're going to cry about it, if you're going to get upset, then okay, you need to reduce the size so you don't feel anything. Or just take yourself to a demo. But you have to perceive the future. What's going to happen? What could possibly happen next? Well, there's only, three things I would say: up, down, and sideways. But the sideways is tradable if you have a tight stop. And it's more work. But it's so stupid, these markets. And if they shear off my tickets, some guy said, what do you do if the market... Okay, you got stopped out of that trade. Hopefully you did not put your life savings into this plunge here. So this thing plunges, but you should have been short and trading the other guys. In other words, you just can't trade one direction, or you can't just trade one style, because if you didn't breakout trade this is a 1 hour chart. If you didn't breakout trade that, and look how they just trapped the last tick there. Now that is the pattern. That is the scheme. That's the strategy. Somebody said, well, what is the strategy? Sell new highs, buy new lows. I mean, it's the dumbest shit in the world. Sold new high, made money. Bought new low, made money. Sold new high, made money. Here's the trailing pressure. You could call this trapping buyers. It's only a trap if they trapped you, right? Otherwise, you're the guy going, hey, man, I want to get the best price I can for this house, so I'm going to let it sit on the market a little bit longer. I mean, price over time. I'm going to let, you know what? I'm just going to, like anytime you would put something on eBay, you would just say, good till canceled. I'll just let it sit there all day. I'm not going to create an auction that is so tight that not enough people can show up. No, I'm going to have a nice all-day auction. That's all eBay is. So this is like an eBay thing. If you go on eBay and you know what you're looking at, and you're like, oh my God, this guy just listed this thing? Fuck, he's just some, he doesn't have a bunch of, he seems to be a decent person, and you just go, well, I just half off. Get stuff for half off. Don't you want half off? And if you could have perceived this low, and you had all day to look at this and go, God, look at this low here. Gosh, I wonder if I could, and maybe you couldn't get filled there. And you can't tell if you got filled on the buys, unfortunately, here. But what if you put one here at the closing price, which is the bottom, at least it's the bottom portion of this candle. So, and then we can see all the dojis in here. Here's an inverted hammer doji. And how do you know it's a doji? Because it closed almost where it opened. So what you're doing, and to see these as candles, you're really just looking for this flatline shit. So here's the breakout. Whoa, here we go. But who wins it? The breakout, trailing breakout guys win that. You're like, oh, it's going up, 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 up. But guess who cleaned up on that? This is a hell of a lot bigger move than that move. And even if you got trapped here, you made it up here and you're still up this much. In other words, you took a hit here, but since your winning wasn't here, which would have been break even, you took it all the way to here, and you've made that. If you had got in here and you could have added here, the robot would have added here, but the script that runs here would have been a bigger script. What I was trying to get somebody to write, and they can just write it for themselves. I'm not going to, it's so complicated apparently, but it is a robot that actually reaches for a different script. This is wider, the robot's reaching for a wider script with a wider take profit. And the robot here reaches for a scalpish script. And this robot is also involved in this trade too, because the criteria is that one robot, your risk is here. One robot comes in at this much risk bar. The next time you get a bar like this, well, this robot and a new robot come on. So you have both those. And when you get into a very small candle like this, you got the scalp bot, you got the other bots, they all come in on that. But you also have your trailing sell stops running, so it's building a hedge. It's like a tourniquet. It's coming down on it as the volatility comes down. Now, if you go to the 4-hour chart, you're going to have less trading and make more money, but you take a more pip risk. Now you've got to bring down your frequency of trading to match the same risk level. So here you would have only taken this trade. The robot would only got in here. As you can see, one robot gets in here. The high risk bot gets in here. Low risk bot gets in here, but he's got to get out here. And there's no trades for him. Like here's his only trade. He kind of got trapped, but he kind of a little whipsawed there. I wouldn't trade any candle this big. So you have to have a threshold. If you're a breakout trader non-directional, you need a threshold number. 13 pip bars. What is your criteria for entry? Now, the 4-hour chart, it's a gold mine if you don't mind trading like a fucking idiot and making money. If you think you want to do Gartley's and all that stuff, it's not mechanical trading. At that point, you're trying to create elaborate projections and scenarios, and right. Not to say that those can't come true, but you still have to scalp something off the table. In my system, just to make some money to pay for the risk of a swing trade. If you built up your account scalping, now you're going to go swing trade it. In other words, it's so much work to scalp. You have to be there that if you're going to make money and then transfer it to another account and now swing trade that. And then you're going to be underwater. So that's like a long-term relationship where it's not going very well. And but you know that going in, right? Nobody gets married thinking it's going to be amazing every day. They go, "Oh my God, I hate you already." I mean, I think on the way home from, well, I got pulled over speeding on the way home from the, so that wasn't good. But I got home. I was like, God, I don't know. Can we get divorced now? Like, it was fun getting married, but damn, I'm over it. So in this mechanical 4-hour breakout system, if you diligently applied this to each currency pair, I mean, you're going to have, look, I just made money here on this week, but you're really saying I'm running 75 pip stops or 25 pip stops or 100 pip stops. A lot of people don't like to run a 100 pip stop because they say, holy shit, that market could go against me 50 pips. Do I pull the stop and go, I can't take it? I'm in too big. I'm getting killed. I'm not making money on the other trade. What the fuck? And of course, now that you have computers, the idea is, well, I'll just let the computer do it. Well, he's going to fuck it up. He's going to go, you don't want me to trade in Asia, or you don't want me to trade during the news. I mean, you got to keep thinking, should I turn my robot off before the news comes out? And he's got exposure. It's just, it's not the ultimate answer. If I could get if I could get some way to trade the market on a fucking cell phone, which don't look like they're ever going to get a cell phone the size of a tablet, you could launch it on there, but unfortunately, you need to run Windows to have this high-res execution of all these tickets. But to me, it's the answer because I don't see that you need to. Well, I guess it doesn't matter as long as people are have good ratios like that. I mean, the math is that you could be a complete idiot and still make money. So the idea that you're going to have these really great trades where you made the market call, and people always say, "Oh, you made a great call in the market." Yeah, but so what? The idea there is that you traded super big on that trade and you have made so much money that now everything's wonderful. But what would it be like then? What would you do for your encore, and would you stop trading? I guess that's the question. Would you, just like if you're at the casino, would you stop at that point? If you'd made X, well, I don't need to trade anymore because I was trading to make money and I've made money, so therefore, logically, you would stop trading. Or do you like trading? Or would you trade anything like watching this fantasy football guy? I thought, oh, look at these people. They want to be involved in the football game, and they're going to create these virtual rosters. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. Okay, I guess so. I say just bet on sports. Why isn't the guy just betting on sports? Maybe because he's a preacher. I don't know. I guess it's for people it's like the demo version of betting on sports with real money. Anyways, so that's that. And you can see all these. I'm sure anybody could build a breakout system that they go track. NASDAQ keeps screaming higher. Look at this NASDAQ. Have you ever seen anything like this in your fucking life? No, sir, I have not. I think it's time to think about buying puts on the NASDAQ. Look at this motherfucker. Are you kidding me? Look at this. Look at this breakout point. Breakout, pull back to the breakout point, and bye-bye. This thing's coming up on insanity. Amazing. Gold's treading water. So gold dipped back here, 1.5 year low. I bet they're itching to. So who's not buying down here on gold? And I'd have to say, if you're a gold bug, you just can't wait till it comes back to the starting gate here. I don't know what's going to happen with gold. According to RSI, it's a buy. More oversold, higher price. Wow, what a sideways. What torture. It's cute. 5 years of sideways on gold. Ouch. It's a big lockup of money. S&P. There was the breakout point right there. Pulled back. Take off. I had that on the weekly marked off. Look, it came down, rated. Came back up. New highs here. I'd definitely buying long-term puts on that. That'd be easy trade. If they kicked you out of every market in the world by now. UK's leading edge. I think the UK is the first one to cave. Look at that. I think the UK is going to bring it down. Poor UK. It's getting all sloshed around here. Yeah, that guy Wilson with the pipe. Yeah, it'll be okay. It'll be fine. Look at that raid. Buying new lows, man. Take some balls to do that, but look at that, pays off. Selling new highs. Each one of these little new highs is they nick up in there, and then it comes ripping back. The reversal trade to me has got to be the gold mine. But that is not a breakout trade. That is a reversal trap, reversal edge, literally the edge of the market. Right now it's breaking out of this. So breakout to limit. Limit to breakout. Edge to... So the breakout guys, they're typically, you would have to say they're trend continuation people. Because this is obviously the reversal zone. Yeah, so trend continuation people would definitely have to pay attention to the volatility. When it simmers down, they're up to bat. It's time for them to load the wagon again. The reversal people really, they're like, oh yeah, sure, it's going to keep going down, right, buddy? It's two different mindsets, I think. It's really why people do not agree on trading, straight out. Look at this wackadoodle template I wrote. It's actually finding the wick tops, this indicator. It's called, Jesus, I can't remember what it's called. Found that on the internet. I go, yeah, just give me the highs and lows. It's how many days back it plots. So that's the problem, is the setting. See here, it found the rooftops. And here it found the basement. But it should probably only have one in there. I've got 3 on top, 3 on the bottom. How about that Australian dollar? Told you it was going down. But look how they just took it right to the top here. At the end of last year, and now it's just like boom, boom, boom. It looks like a huge buy right now for a scalp. Like look at where you're pressing this Australian dollar into right now. Mind-boggling. Utterly mind-boggling. Look at them fill this void. I think they've satisfied this. Look at this chunk. So they're in this window. They dove into this thing, cleaning house. Wow. Can they push it to this? Dip into that. Look how crazy this thing is, man. Yeah, the dollar's definitely kicking some ass. That guy that was all talking about the dollar being a bullshit move. The dollar's just beating the fuck out of this thing. Oh, look Where's the bottom on this puppy? Way back here. It looks just like Dollar Yen leaving the station. Is this bad data on my system? Or is this the no, that's a crash. That's real. 2008. Yeah, everybody went to the dollar. Got all those stocks. My Bitcoin in here. So I got here's the pound to the good old pound to the euro. Boy, look how it called this top here. Gotta love that indicator. I'm just joking. Like I said, that thing could be any numbers, and you'd be like, look how that thing just nails that. It's so funny how the brain wants to make sense of stuff. Look at it, it's right here. It fucking nails that +3. It is sad how your brain just makes sense of stuff. I guess that's the trick. That you're really, at the mercy of your brain wanting it. That's why religion exists. People have they're like, well, this can't just be it. We're sitting here, and then we're gonna be dead. So they have to make some type of story up, so there's something to cling on to, hold on to, and a reason to put an order deeper. That's what 618 is. A reason to put an order deeper. If it's presupposing you're getting in on a limit there. Or a reason to hold on till we hit that number, and that's going to be your target. So all these are as little things that little tchotchkes that you're going to put on the chart to cling to make you feel safe, to make you feel like I'm doing the right thing. And you're always going to wish that you were, if it's a winning trade, you're going to wish maybe that was bigger, or you were going to do more of those. And it's a losing trade, you're going to wish that you didn't do as many of those, you're doing too many of those. And, but there's got to be a subconscious part of you that realizes that when you put a trade in with a 3-pip stop, when the news is on, that you might get stopped out of that. So there are things that they're just blanket general terms of use and that they should probably tell people at these sites so they keep getting, the government stops trying to shut down the as they call them, bucket shops. But to me, that's no different than going into, so I went to IHOP the other day, which is this, I guess they were going to try to change their name. So I go into IHOP, and the waitresses weren't that hot, and the food wasn't that hot. And I thought, but the music was kicking it, and I almost wanted to record the music. And I was writing down the songs while I was in there because they had triggered me with their baby boomer playlist. And they had, but it was the worst food in the world. Literally, it came out like of a replicator or something, like one that was broken. It was bizarre. I mean, I was like, and the girl brings me my bacon is actually hanging off the plate. So when she puts it on the table, it drags onto the, not that it's not the cleanest table in the world, but it drags onto that. And I thought, man, really, I only wish I had a GoPro running my whole day and just took snippets of But actually, I got to get a GoPro or something it doesn't have to be high def, but just something where I'm constantly, even like a lousy, crude old spy cam, film that shit and then narrate it later. I think that would be good material. Yeah, this is it. This is my life. Narrate on top. I like that Nicolas Cage narrates on top of his movies, like Warlords or something, where he's talking on top. It's the best, right? Because he's really able to be precise in. Whereas if you're acting and running around, you're it's fucking your breath up, and you can't really be that direct. So here we are. on the weekend. And, oh, the guppy. Almost forgot. Everybody loves the guppy. They love the pippage on this thing. Look at this thing. I got 50 pip grid on this puppy. Look at this guy move. Now, this is really putting your dollars to work, especially if you're trading standard lots. Now, I get that you can kill it on this thing, but even Evolve's telling me that I'm getting killed. Well, the spread's 2 pips. But this thing's vicious, okay? And, gosh, I mean, look at this monthly. A 50 pip grid on the guppy. And I'd almost say, hey, you got scripts that you run on the guppy because you're going to have to run 100 pip stops on this thing. To make 500 pips, you're going to have to run 100 pip stop. It's insane. I don't really, so when I was doing all the scripts, I stuck to the Euro because if you go from the Euro to the guppy, you would just blow up the scripts. There's no fucking way they'd survive. I mean, your 13 pip stops are just going to be like smashed to bits. If that happens to be, like unless the news comes out and the market goes rocketing through these things, okay, then you can make money on that. In other words, if you bracket before the news comes out, if you lay in hedges, granted you're going to get kicked out of some, but sometimes the market literally breaks and screams in one direction, you will clean up. And you'll get some slippage on that, but overall, even with a 13 pip stop on the guppy on this one piece of news, you could make, right? So the whole problem with that is you can never have a blanket approach to anything, right? This girl and this bar at this time of night, it's like this, and then it's done. And the shorter the better, right? Because you don't want to get attached or you don't want to get involved psychologically. And I'd say trading's a lot like sex in that regard. So you don't want to get that involved. And unfortunately, if you are an investor or you're a person that wants to see it through to the end, then you'd have to have wide stops to survive the punishment of seeing it through to the end. I don't know. It looks to me like the yen is in trouble across the planet. And look at this amazing scalp on this monthly guppy, for God's sakes. This is amazing. Look at them take this thing down. And I have a little bit of a fat candle, non-directional candle on this one. But look at that invasion of this wickage. Unbelievable. And how far did they take that back? Well, they took it all the way back to this bottom basement discount down here. Amazing. You need to have orders there. It has nothing to do with RSI. It's just pure auction shit. They never made it down to this price. So when people were hounding me really hard, I was getting all triggered, but I just don't care anymore. There's a 100 pip window there. This is 50. Because when you're making money or losing money or living your life, it just doesn't matter. It's too much fun to be a contrarian and make money, I guess. It's how you're making the money. Okay, so this is the thing. I hate trends. So I hate the idea of trend trading, but I realize that trend trading makes money and from the breakout standpoint. And it's stupid. In other words, it's for dumb people. So I don't want to consider myself being stupid. Nobody does. So I'm not going to do what dumb people do. I want to do something more daring and more insane. And put my orders at the edge of price. And do the auction where it's like rock bottom, you're in, you've locked it in, you've scalped some of it, and you're like, oh no, this is the reversal. And I wouldn't wait for the end of the candle. You're not, in other words, you're getting in. The people that wait for the end of the candle and wait for confirmation are doing a different thing than the people that are saying, oh, if it ever goes down 100 pips, I'm a buyer. And then people say, well, yeah, but what if, no, and they're committed to that getting in the edge of the market or whatever. It doesn't have to be 100 pips. It could be just where you see there is a new low, and it may be 150 pips away. But you could scale in every 50 pips, right? So if you laid a 50 pip grid here, and this is the 50 pip, and you could have somebody that trades the 50 pip chart. So you could say, well, this is a 50 pip chart, Guppy, and I know I can make 150 pips here. If I buy every 50 pips, I actually make more than that, but that's the monthly, and then you go to the weekly and see, well, how did that play out? If you always knew that this low existed here and this one here, but you never got filled on this one. Well, that's why you have to buy all the way into, you have to have enough money to buy all the way into that. And you would have enough money if you had more margin, if you had more leverage. Well, you can't have leverage. I mean, you can see how fucking retarded that is. Well, you can't have any leverage, son, because, you're just so dangerous. And you'd have orders here that never got filled. You just can't even, I mean, how is that even possible? Like I said, it's only possible if you have no math skills. But you're trading money, and that involves a decimal point. I mean, what is wrong with this picture? I still, it's like saying, well, you're going to have a tit job. We're going to give you fake breasts. And you're like, will they be like real breasts? No, they're fake, honey. Well, you fucking nuts? Of course. You don't, we put we're going to put a synthetic object in your chest. Okay, you okay with that? I guess so. Well, you better read the disclaimer, honey. This is not your real breasts we're going to put in. It's not like your ass cheeks that we ground up and then formed them into amazing breastises, and we're going to insert them up through your belly button, apparently. And, God bless the girl that's going to do that to herself, but you just got to ask, what the fuck? And I would say the same thing about this leverage issue. What the fuck? Well, I can't believe they'd stop me on that trade. I can't believe you're trading. Anyway, and then they would say, oh, they make it so easy. Like when you go to their site, they're like, open an account. Well, of course. How do you think you're going to buy a car? How do you think you're going to drive? Don't make it bad about, it's like guns. Really, those guns are getting up and killing people again. Damn it. Damn guns. What the fuck? And look at this fucking guppy. Are you kidding me? Who's buying this one? Oh, look at this 100 pip window down here. Window to window. Edge to edge trading, wick to wick. But I wouldn't go as far as to put a Fibonacci time scale or a Fibonacci. It's too much. You don't need it. Like I could say, well, the cycle here is off. This is a shorter cycle than this cycle. This can't be the exit. This can't be the reversal point. I mean, my God in heaven. You got in here, you got out here, in 2 months you made how many pips? And then you're such a pig, you went short here, and then you started buying into this, and then you sold into this new high, and you bought into that new low? What are you, a fucking idiot? What are you, contrarian? You mean to tell me you sold this new high and you bought this new low? You're an idiot. Can't you see the moving average? Can't you see my level 2 trading? You mean to tell me you're putting buy stops and sell stops here on these small bars? Like you got sell stops trailing here? And buy stops? And you mean to tell me you made money into your limits? No, there's no fucking way. No, I'm sorry. Trading's more complicated than that. What you need to do, son, is you need to study supply and demand zones first. Now, let me sit you down. I mean, I want to throw up. If you've ever done anything and then somebody's like, well, here's what you do. And you're like, no, I'm sorry. I do that. We're doing the same thing, but you want to make it about a procedure that is so locked in stone and so unflexible and has so many rules to it for no apparent reason when we're both going the same place. I just think it's about getting there efficiently. Sure, we could both go to the store together, and you're gonna be like, "Well, I gotta have the right music playing." I get okay, I get it. Your experience of getting to the store is better, but we're both getting the same shit at the store, right? We're getting the same sex toys, and we have the same ugly wife. My tequila buddy is so cute. I think I talked about this once, where he he was renting his old girlfriend, right? He turned his old girlfriend into a hooker, so the relationship wasn't immoral in from his standpoint. So, and then later on, he got bored with his girlfriend, so he would get her wigs and stuff. And I think it was his wife. He got bored with his wife. And, honey, do you mind putting on a wig? Yeah, so I can bang somebody else, obviously. But now it would certainly be insulting, maybe to the chick, or maybe the chick's up with it, right? Like I'll dress up. I'll wear like a sock, or something. I'll dress up for you. I'll dress up like in a tuxedo and act like I care. Like formal affair, right? Nothing more funny than being inappropriate during a formal affair. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, if you're swing trading it, your mindset would be different than if you're scalping. Obviously, the polar extremes, and then there's stuff in between, right? Where you're swing trading a 15-minute chart. Now, I don't know, scalping is kind of a wide term. You could scalp the monthly chart like you're just looking at the edge of the market, and you're like, oh, I'm out of that trade in like 40 minutes. I don't know. I think a scalp might be something like under an hour. Of course, some brokers are saying, well, if you scalp more than if it's under 1 minute, we won't honor the trade. I've never had a broker not honor the trade. Only one time I had this broker that was right at the edge of, well, I could say retail bucket shop, like the IHOP restaurant, where it's like, wow, really? I mean, I could have just can I just bring my own meal in here and sit, and I could just still tip you? But the risk, the risk of even having an account at, or the stock market's supposed to be safe, right? And this NASDAQ and it is a perfect storm in a way. NASDAQ and stocks are going up. Crude's not really participating yet. Gold's supposedly a buy there. It's going to be so fascinating to watch the end of this year. So you're coming into the end of the year, Christmas. I'm thinking online shopping. Most of the retail brick and mortars have closed down, and that's refreshed, and things have kind of stabilized there. And I wonder what's going to be the future 5 years from now. Interesting stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you're having fun trading, and but it is, if you do consider it to be, I'll say you're a full-time trader and you consider it a job. In other words, if it sets in your mind as a job, then you still can't be there 24 hours a day. So if you're going to sleep, if you're going to fit trading a 24-hour market into your life, Forex it is, and Bitcoin, 24/7 apparently, and you would fit that in, and you would find some way to manage that, and you just kind of, it's like a relationship. You just, or you would say, no, I want to make it better. All right, so you go marriage counseling, right? That kind of thing. And to me, I actually think it's more fun to almost watch somebody else trade that has never traded before. And so if you're going to show somebody how to do something, that would make you do it better. Because you'd be like, oh yeah, you know what? You would show them the best practice to do it. You wouldn't show them what you would do, taking a little extra risk and kind of a little extra complicated thing, whereas you'd probably show them the strict, okay, you do this, and you wouldn't want to overwhelm them, right? You just say, let's do breakout trading. So I would say, if you were going to start somebody off, the criteria is you're looking for a small bar. Inside bar, that's too complicated. Just a small bar. The idea of an inside bar, when I first heard that, and this is Ryan Brown understands this, and he put it in his robot or something, you still, you've got two things there. You got the bar that makes it an inside bar. You're looking at two pieces of data. Here you're only going to look at one piece of data. Every 4 hours, what is the smallest bar off of 12 currency pairs? Put a trade on that. The smallest bar, and if you have some money left over, put a trade on another one. But now people would say, well, geez, that was a lot of work. And they're only 1Ks? Like, holy shit, dude, I'm never going to make money. Big money. Okay, well, now put 10 in then. Well, that's more work. And so there you go right there. So that's typically why nobody would trade. In other words, why people would say, well, I want a signal service. It's just too much work. I mean, the whole thing of leaning on somebody. And I don't know if it really does any good. These people are on these Discord things and stuff like that. I guess it just goes to show you that, like, I almost bailed in the very beginning there because I made a joke about this Ryan Brown guy, how, he could turn gay at any moment and nobody would notice or whatever. And somebody immediately deleted that comment. I thought, oh my God, really? Like, can't we just have some fun here? I mean, if I had to behave, it would be at a formal affair, but people don't even behave there. Apparently they get drunk and fuck the bride and, all sorts of bad things happen. I guess people want to have this like super, and so you could see somebody that would trade like that would have this properness about them. The markets are pretty improper, pretty ridiculous, chaotic, and insane. And feeling like the angry photographer now. And they are not like anybody thinks as far as, well, trying to gauge what it's going to do based on the fundamentals, how they translate into price behavior, because it's about the sessions. And when Asia opens and people come into the market and participants come in and people have resting orders for protection, or they have numbers that when their books change, they say, you know what, we're underwater on there, let's get out. For whatever reason, Mark Douglas would tell you participants that were there on Friday may not be there next Friday. So, and in other words, participants don't have to be people. They could be pending orders that are sitting there for protection. So if people do have money management stops in there, when they get triggered, that's going to fuel a move also. Plus, it'll just start caving into an uncharted piece of water. So could the British pound, could it be done going down for the moment? And has a pent-up demand zone or whatever have you up here that goes way the fuck up into 2 years ago? Is there a zone that goes way up into here, all the way to here when it was in its heyday back here? Years ago. It says 4 years ago now. And are we going to stabilize here and climb higher? It's going to take a year and a half to, maybe by the end of the year. Maybe makes a stampede move. I mean, look at this. In 1 month, look at this insane stampede south. As the breakout traders clean up like they've never cleaned up in their life here, but then they try to replicate that trade here and get chopped up. And this is why, if you backtest a robot, it'll clean up on a couple trades, and then it'll just get its ass crushed when it goes into this stuff here. Especially if it's putting on monthly 500 pip range triggers. Whereas the weekly bot is probably going to not get hurt. In fact, the weekly chart, breakout chart, there's not a lot of trades on here, but they're mind-blowingly amazing good. It's so many low range weeks to fucking load the wagon here like an idiot. Never a higher high here. I mean, never a lower low. As you get filled on the north side and here's one entry, two entry, sheer up, stopped out here, or go short if that's just under your threshold. But these are huge risks, pip wise. You're talking about putting a 200 pips stop on this, but you're looking to make, 1,000 pips, 500 pips, whatever, right? 50 pip grid there. Look at them come almost hit this thing, didn't quite get it, but they came back into this backdraft. This was the crusher. They came back, blew out that double bottom, then ripped it up. Didn't quite make it to here though, but they were coming up into this hole. So it's vacuum. This is satisfied. You had to have gotten out here. Your scalp is obviously you're out, and you're short maybe. If you got stopped in this, you break out 1 week breakout bot went long, trailing stop, you're at break even here if it backs up on you now, but you had to get the fuck out here because this is where the sellers are going to come in, right on that rooftop. They took out this rooftop, then they took out this one, then when they came for there, and then they came for the Jews. And are we going to do this? I don't fucking know, and I wouldn't fucking care because I made so much money here, and I would say, okay, well, I'm an idiot to fucking go. This thing's done. The volatility's too big for a breakout system now. You'd have to wait another week for it to set up, for it to simmer down. Look at the daily. The daily's going to look like a train wreck. Well, it actually looks pretty smooth. But here you can see a lot less risk. Now you're coming down to 150. You're coming to 50 pips and 100 pips of risk. Daily breakout. Buy stop stacking up. Sell stop stacking up. Only filled long. Only filled long. These are too big of a bar to get in a trade. Hopefully you're getting out there. I can go back test the breakout system and fucking just look at the chart. You don't need to run a goddamn computer on this thing. You're fucking retarded. Breakout, trap, slight trap, small bar, enter, breakout, winner. You had to cash out on something. Yeah, breakout, winner, breakout, winner. Maybe you don't trade that. All 3 tickets filled here. Only filled on the southern side. Add to a winner. Boom. Coming into the vacuum. Got to be cashing out. No trades here. Oh, here's a trade. Only filled south. Not a lot of pips. Got to think about going long. New lows. Low range. Turning point. In fact, that's the combo play, right? New lows. Range bots are in. And so stop hunt guys are in. The doji guys are in. Here comes into a 8-day coming back to here. We clean house into this. We get short. We wait. Now this is a long time. How many fucking days? Add to a winner. Add to a winner. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Get in. Get in. In. Boom. Got to think about getting out. Coming into the hole. Coming into those rooftops that are stacked up. This rooftop's important. We never made it there. But guess what? We finally made it there. That rooftop is important. So, rooftops and basements. This basement's important. I mean, they took out the fucking bomb shelter down there. Look at that. New low. Daily. Crushing it. Stop hunted. Confirmation guys get in after. Maybe they get in after, right? They're like, oh, step away from that. Fuck, it's too crazy. It does blow up people's minds. If you're the guy stepping in front of this market, okay, you're short into the limit. You're short on stops into the limit. You're short into it, but you're buying this thing up on the 50s. Buy. Add. You're long from here with a stop here. You're running 100, 200 pip stops. 150 pip stops. In the daily chart, you're running 50, 75, 100, 125, 150. You have to write those scripts. Then you drop them. It's a lot of work. Put a buy limit here, buy limit here, buy limit here, buy limit here. All next week, walk away. All month. All month long, I'd be buying here. Obviously. This is a painfully obvious, like, we're trapping them. Do you really need to have fucking candlesticks? Not really. You can take what you've loaded in your brain, which is a lot of punishment from having to learn candlesticks. These are all dojis. Because the open to close is, here's a doji, open to close, barely a change. Low volatility, time to fucking think about it. What's going to happen, people? Selling new highs, selling new highs, selling new highs. Boy, does it pay off if you stuck through that whole thing. Here's obviously people have bought this pullback for a little dead cat bounce, but look at the sellers coming off the daily. You saw it on the weekly. Here it is. That last rooftop. But don't forget, there's somebody like me that sold here, 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 here. This one's up. They're all up. But I had to run a 300 pip stop. And I had to wait days for that trade. But these trades are fucking amazing. If you don't want to be involved in a 5-minute chart and you want to trade 12 currency pairs, yes, you could do it on the dailies. Holy fuck, right? Is it dumb enough for you yet? Do you feel stupider now seeing how fucking retarded trading is? It is so stupid. Here's the daily of just the British pound. Same story. Breakout traders are all over this shit. They're filled to the south side. No fills long. Never a higher high. They run dumbass sell stops. Now, granted, they're risking a lot of pips. And they're adding to their winner here. Add to the winner. Never get, look how beautiful these are. Oh, hindsight's 2020. No, dumb fuck. We put a trade on here. We're short. We're up. There's no trade now. There is no signal. It goes from signal to non-signal. Is trading dumb enough for you yet? There's no trades in here. These are too big of bars. Here's the only trade, kind of. No orders on this one because too big of a bar. Here you got trapped. Right? You had trapped long, trapped short. That's why you have to be the guy that's buying on limits all the way in here so that this one eventually becomes a winner and all these become winners on a different account, on a different broker maybe. You can't have all your eggs in one basket. That's an old one, right? Anyways, there you go. That's my view of the breakouts and reversals. I'd say reversal trading and continuation trading. Which is, say, from a confirmation overpay standpoint, but also don't forget there is no exposure to the good side about breakout trading is that you're not going to get filled in the wrong direction. In that sense, confirmation is a good idea, but it doesn't mean that you can't have limits into these failure swings, into what you, in other words, when the volatility starts to die down and you think that the vacuum above is more powerful than the vacuum below, whichever you think the market has gone stretched too far outside of reality. Even the Swiss franc, after depegging, it drifted all the way back and engulfed and took out the high of the pre-depegging. So all markets recover and then some. And that's something to consider, right? So, but always the stop, like I said, the 200 pip stop is like playing chess with a rook. You know, there's a huge, giant, linear approach there. Now, if you have a knight and you're playing chess, you're scalping. This is very difficult to maneuver, although you can find pockets, you know, when you're doing stuff like grid trading, swing trading in a real, planned out, usually, okay. But you'd still have to have a, take advantage of these low volatility things before the market heats up. Get in before it heats up, and hopefully you pick the right direction, but you're letting the market decide that. The market's going to crush into new territory and pick you up along the way, and I guess the last thing you want to do is treat it like a scalp. you'd have to have the fortitude and discipline to hold that as the original. You're waiting for it to make a new high before you reverse it. So you'd have to hold on to that. And just because you get into a winning trade like that, of course, you're not going to get out of it because the size of that trade needs to be smaller if you're going to keep a linear risk per trade, because now you got to trade really small if you're going to use a 500 pip stop. You're risking $50 on 1K, and that if there's only $50 in the account, you'd be risking the whole account. So you can just put the trade on without a stop, I suppose. That compared to the guy that's running the 50 pip stop, standard lot 5 pip stop. From a 500 pip stop to a 5 pip stop, there's a world of difference, and you're talking a standard lot to a hundredth of a standard lot. So that's the spectrum, and of course, the problem with the 5 pip stop is that your shipping and handling is so high that you're ordering shit off of fucking Amazon that costs $3 and the shipping's $2. And that's not you have to recover that somehow and find somebody else to buy the crap that you bought in such a narrow window. But your brain wants to do the tight stop because it thinks low risk, but it has nothing to do with risk, because the sizing determines risk. You're not risking pips. It's just hysterical that anybody could see the world like that. But I get that you need pips to have a profit and a loss, but it's you set your scale, you calibrated it to the wrong thing. If you have $1 million and you're trying to make $2 million, right? What if you only have 10 grand and you're trying to make $1 million? It's different, right? A lot easier to take $1 million and make another $1 million than it is to take 10 grand and make $1 million. So you need a lot more careful attention to sizing, or you would destroy your $10,000 account or your $1,000 account. To get that thing off the ground, you'd have to take it through those phases, and you'd have to have a dynamic approach to the market to do it in a speedy manner. In other words, to make more money per year, because you're only going to live so long, sadly. And so the fear of missing out is a real fear, because you basically want to get the party started, right? You, like the song from this girl, Paula Cole, I don't want to wait. So being impatient has a real, it's a calling that you can't deny. And if you're a sniper, you've got your game plan ready for London Open or whatever it is, and it's hard not to become emotionally involved in the trade if you're rooting for your team too hard. But if you just see it as that you engineered it, and now the market's just going to do something. It's not doing something to you. You're doing something with it. If you think of you're actually coexisting in concert with it, and you see them, like Mark Douglas says, you have to see the market from the market's perspective. And you realize these markets love to go up and down really hard, and they love to go sideways and 80% of the time and do nothing. And at that point, your indicators might be coming into a signalish kind of pattern, and you're going to make assessments of that, and you're going to try to derive a clue. Structure leaves clues. Well, you know what? The idea of a clue, there's many clues. In other words, like I said, the whole empowered trading thing is just so ridiculously structured. The way there's no global ground, there's no metaphysical beginning to their system. It's just like a bunch of, they're throwing up these Gartleys on there. Oh my God, man. It's like you're trying to build a nuclear reactor and you got some guy like chewing gum, and you're like, dude, these don't go together. What are you doing? Yeah, why not just get a dartboard? The old dartboard trick. Yeah, as long as I got tight stops, or as long as I got good money management. So small size, wide stop, big ticket, tight stop. How about small ticket, tight stop? So if you go small ticket, tight stop, you hardly can tell. And that's when your nano counts and you can make a ton of money because now you're like, oh, dude, I don't care. I mean, it's about capturing the territory of the price volatility probabilities. If you can do that, then you can fucking clean up because now you're like, oh yeah, it's just like dominoes. You lay all those tickets out there and just let it go. Whatever happens. Better to do that manually though. I don't know if a robot can project. Of course, so I haven't been able to do it yet. In other words, when the volatility gets big, the robot starts to throw orders in deeper. I forced it to happen by running a 1 minute robot and a 5 minute robot, so that way I had more different terrain to the landing price every 50 minutes. In other words, the price every 50 minutes was dramatically different according to the assessment of. They were fixed scripts that were going to go like 50 pips deep. So as it moved around, the problem was the frequency of the drop, and having a linear drop scheme is not good. You have to wait for the market to make an insane move. Those are the market order entries. So if the market goes screaming up, you'd have to sell at the market. But if it drifts sideways the next bar, now you're in hedge mode. So you have to be dynamic in terms of you'd have to have a stop system, a market system, and a limit system. You'd have to have all three flavors, types of orders. Otherwise, what you've done is said, I'm going to go play guitar, and I literally cannot change key. I mean, how can you play and not change key? How can you even, or change the beat? Couldn't do it. It has to be a chorus, and that is the trend. The verse is longer than the chorus. Of course, it's what builds it. So how, if there's three verses in one chorus, well, the setup is the verse, and that's what the noise is in the market. That's the cause for the effect. In Wyckoff theory, the cause is noise. The effect is the end of noise. So there's always a lull, and if in the morning, if you open the windows in your house in the morning, when the sun, just before the sun comes up, the wind changes direction for a little bit. There's a slight backdraft. There's this like a pendulum switch over point there. I suppose that's the what I call it when the seasons change. Solstice. But it's like a micro fractal solstice, But that's that shift. And you'll see that in the morning, 6:30 in the morning in the markets. It'll be like, okay, now what? And if you watch the tick chart and you watch one instrument and you get an idea of the breadth of that one thing. So I guess if you're monogamous, you pick one currency and you fuck it to death, right? If you are going to trade all these currency pairs from a swing standpoint, and you go, okay, I got this thing, that thing, this thing, and this, like this. And you can plan all the trades out for next week. You should have all the trades, all your limits in that last all week long. You can write a script that lasts all week long, and you shouldn't have to touch your books on your swing trades all week. Now, if you're an hourly breakout guy, then maybe you're like, okay, you know what? The market's traded sideways for 2 fucking hours. And you look at the 5 minute, you look at the substructure like a 15, and you go, oh yeah, I've been accumulating at the edge. If you're building a position during a 3-hour trough of noise, maybe you're doing that instead of putting Goober-esque buy stops above and below, bracketing a 3-hour range and going, yeah, I'm taking more risk, but it's confirmation. I'm just lazy, whatever. There's nothing wrong with being lazy because now you're going to never overtrade. It's a real benefit in being. So some of the reasons for your winning aren't reasons that they're not good behavioral reasons. You just happen to be winning because you're doing this, that, and the other thing. But then people don't want to win by making a mistake, and that is an awkward thing, is to be up on a trade that you didn't intend to take. If you've ever pulled the trigger in the wrong direction, you're up in the trade, and then you get out, and you go, you know what, that wasn't my intention. I guess that's what you're supposed to do, but it is an awkward feeling to be up and then close that out at a profit and then see maybe if you would have stayed in that one. It's very hard to be a flexible person if you're trying to direct your life in some type of secure manner. Right now, if you're going to just be out of your fucking mind, you'd probably be a good trader unless you have disorganizational skills that are very good. You really have to be, it's really complicated. And not to mention the fact that if you have a spouse or a friend or somebody that thinks what you're doing is so wrong, it's going to be you're going to be swimming upstream, somebody, or you believe all the nonsense that you're trading against the best traders in the world. It's just the fucking most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't even know these people. And if they're the best traders in the world, how is that? How are they I don't get it. It's just a herd of fucking people. Some of them are good, some are bad. That means if 95% of people lose, that's only 5% of the traders are good. I'm trading against those 5%. I thought I was trading with... Doesn't make sense. I'm in a pool of 95% losers. So half of the people are losers. Or like whatever. 48%. Half of that sample, if I diluted it, if I just, didn't cordon off that section. But I said, well, hey, how does this even fit into anybody's brain? I mean, I just use laughable logic. People have a better logic thread when it comes to doing an MACD crossover. Crossed over, go along. I mean, the robot's doing the logic thing. It's getting whipsawed. Let that thing get whipsawed. But you can get whipsawed emotionally by saying, I don't know. I guess I'm waiting for confirmation, and I'm running too tight to stop, and I'm doing what they said you're supposed to do. And I think this is the whole problem with the books and all, is what you're supposed to do. And it's the right thing to do. And you wouldn't think you would buy a book and have disloyalty to what the book says. But there's that, and of course I was very much into, read a lot of books, not like that guy, he don't read no books. I read a lot of books, and I thought, these people have degrees, and I didn't really think much of anybody had a degree, but I thought, well, they chose to write this book. They must be serious about what they're saying, and why would they, I'm assuming they're honest, why would they write a fake book? And it made sense on the surface, and I thought, yeah, but there's something missing terribly from every book I read, and it would be pretty much saying, here's the nuts and bolts. In other words, it's one thing to speak abstractly about a car, but it's another thing to go, well, here's the car I'm driving, and I say, I noticed your car's leaking oil. And they go, yeah, I know. It's one of those Rolls Royces that always leaks, but it's like a Harley, just designed to leak. There's this quaint aspect of it. But yeah, I was really stunned when I met this one trader, and I go, this guy is making that kind of money? My God, a hot assistant he had. And I thought, geez, he's just such a normal guy. In fact, he's absolutely boring. I mean, I was like, this guy is just not boring, but I don't know. You expect, it's just like if you met a famous person, you think, really? You're just a person? Like, that's so disappointing. And all these, same thing with every business that I've ever gone into behind the scenes. I'm like, God, really? I didn't picture like this at all. The website makes you feel like when you go in there, it's just going to look like the website, and you get there and you're like, good Lord, you over-designed that website, didn't you? This is like a fucking dive. This is a dive. This is literally a depressing Whereas I went to this other office one day and they had no website, and you walked in there and you're like, holy shit. We have some queer design in this place? It's amazing. I mean, it looks like some glitter Hollywood brick wall, indirect lighting. I thought, God, is this a jewelry store? No, what we do here is we own gas stations. I went to a gas place where they pick up gasoline and stuff, and you would think, oh man, this is just like a fucking, it looks like some kind of government utility watershed on the side of the road, and you go in there and it's like it's glitzed out. Totally glitzed out in there. But yeah, so it's just going to be, next week's going to be quite the stampede to the end of the year here as you come into the last quarter. It's September 1 now, plus we have the 30 days same as cash factor coming in now. And back to school, back to vacations are over, time to get back to work. See if you can't, and I'm sure the empowered trading people, you get our account, make some money before the end of the year, and show how good trading is here at Empowered Trading. But, I know people love the shit out of that stuff, or they wouldn't have signed up for it. And if that's how you find comfort in taking guitar lessons at Guitar Center, that's great. I could never do it because I don't know how to play guitar. So since I don't know how to trade, I guess I couldn't do it. I'd blow my brains out, and I'd actually want to ask the guy teaching me, like, are you fucking kidding? So that kind of spoiler for me, not being able to enjoy that, only from the standpoint of making fun of it. But there's nothing wrong if you feel confident. I talked to a guy yesterday who had a drum kit, and he goes, I'm not trying to be a rock star. And I'm like, oh, it's okay, dude, don't worry about it. I didn't even tell him I played really anything. So that's another thing. I'm always kind of shy now to tell anybody to play guitar. I kind of act, I guess tell people a lot of stuff on about trading, but I try to hold back information because I don't want to taint the situation, and then people. I guess it's hard for me to shut up and listen to people talk about it. So their situation without chiming in and going, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. And so I kind of like to hear how people hear it, because it's too easy to want to participate, I suppose. But with the trading thing, I couldn't resist because of the overwhelming. You don't see this problem in music. I said you don't typically see people. Well, I guess you would see somebody criticize somebody's guitar playing, like, this guy's a fucking pig. But see, that's a piece of artwork, so you can't really say that. Like if you said, well, hell, Bob Dylan sounds like a fucking. He thinks he sounds like shit. So it's not a secret, right? But he wrote good lyrics and blah blah blah, and he's the guy that did that, so he owns that real estate. But as far as how you interact with these prices and stuff, like I said, the Bitcoin thing is a little bit upsetting because since I have to use Bitcoin, I want to hedge my wallet against a account, and the leverage is not that high on the cryptos anyways. So you're kind of like in a normal stock trade there, but certainly the leverage available in the Forex market and the guppy, it's a tremendous moving thing, but still you'd have risking more money there. So to me, that's high. If you want to talk about risk, because if you can only trade a 1K, you're stuck at that. Now, if you had a nano account, you could trade the guppy and your risk would not change. Okay, that's the trick. You could trade the guppy with a nano account and your risk wouldn't change. There you go. Anyways, drive reckless.